Alright, guys. Day 18 of Shotokan karate. I'm literally still laying in bed. It's just now 6:47 a.m. So I decided let me start recording a little early. So I said I was gonna lay off the C4. I don't think I'm gonna completely lay off of it. I definitely like the boost in the morning. So I've got it right here next to me. And I don't know how much of this I'm gonna drink. Maybe I might keep it less than 100 milligrams. Maybe 70 or so. It's not the best flavor in the morning, but I have this fruit punch one. It's zero sugar C4 Ultimate. I get the non-carbonated ones with the twist cap that you can kind of just not have to drink all at once, and it doesn't lose carbonation because it's not carbonated. I'm not trying to sell these or anything, but they definitely help. I think if you're gonna get a good workout and your intention is to get a good workout and all you're trying to do is get a good workout, they help. I don't like it if I'm just sitting around. Some people like it if they're sitting around. I think it's kind of gotten to me maybe some of the other days because maybe, like I mentioned before, I was working out, but my workouts weren't as explosive as I would probably prefer for them to be. So I'm debating if I even want to have breakfast this early. It's one of those things, it's just it's such a time killer. Cooking is one of those things that's just cooking, eating, and then waiting for the food to kind of settle. It's that's gonna take maybe another hour or 45 minutes out of my morning, versus just wait for this stuff to kick in and then just start working out. A lot of times I've noticed I'm starting the workouts after a warm-up. I'll say, okay, I'm gonna work out after I warm up, and then I'll warm up, and then I'll be let me just grab a bite to eat, whip something up, eat it, and then I'm not really trying to work out right then. So yeah, I'm trying to maybe not do it that way. But yeah, I think if I'm having C4, I'm gonna have to make sure that the workouts get done and that they're an explosive enough workout that I'm kind of burning off some of this energy. Otherwise, I find myself feeling, quite irritable, and it's I'm not trying to be in an irritable mood all the time. That's not fun, that's not pleasant, but it definitely contributes. Yeah, pre-workout supplements for me definitely contribute to, being irritable, moody. It's not fully worth all that, but I don't know. So let's see. I'll let this fan on. I don't know, maybe I'll keep it on. feel sluggish. I've got my little workout clothes. Alright, well, so I think I've talked about this. Like, one of the last things I do before bed lately is, like, just putting my next morning's workout attire kind of, right nearby, not really right nearby my bed. It's kind of like a cross on the other side of my yoga mat that's right next to my bed. So, I can just kind of reach over and it's all right there. Like, I think I've talked about this before. I did kind of realize a couple days ago, a few days back, that, in the mornings, there was one morning I think it was like maybe 20 something, 30 something minutes, maybe another morning that was almost 40 minutes where I was like, I'm up. Where did all the time go? In between like getting water and getting my workout gear, my clothing, just, like I wouldn't say I'm super clean. I'm not like super neat, but I usually keep my clothes that I'm using, if they're not like super fresh. I have a drawer that I kind of like fold them and put them in, but that because it's in my closet, and I keep my closet door shut, like it kind of, things kind of go into a black hole in there sometimes, and I'm gonna start stretching a little bit while I'm talking, but things kind of go into this weird little black hole in that drawer, and so I don't really use it as much because I feel like I lose stuff almost, or it's more of like a forgetfulness, like I put it in there and then I'm like, where did those shorts go, where did that t-shirt go, and like I just kind of forget that it was even there. It's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. I do kind of have, when I hang out around the house, especially because it's so hot, I don't tend to really wear a whole lot of clothing. So when it's hot, if I don't want to wear clothes, I just don't. But for that reason, sometimes I'll have different little kind of like outfits. Like, say if I'm going to the store, there's something I'll put on. Like if I'm gonna be out in like public around people, I don't know, maybe I'm becoming a germaphobe, but like if I'm gonna be out in public around people, like grocery, gas station, library, whatever it may be, I kind of have certain clothes that are like, these are the clothes I wore outside, and then there's other clothes that are maybe like, these are my workout clothes, and then there's other clothes that are more like, these are the clothes that I wear when I'm like lounging around, not really doing anything important, and then I have other clothes that are like, okay, these are like the clothes I wear when I'm actually kind of like getting work done, but I'm like at home or something. So I probably have about 4 types of outfits. And as far as like what I wear to bed, I don't really wear anything for the most part. So that I wouldn't say that I have pajamas, but at most I'm probably wearing like underwear and a tank top. That's even a lot. Like I probably wear less than that in all honesty. Most of the time, unless it's like absolutely freezing. But still, even when it's cold and I have the heater on, I don't really like wearing clothes. I feel like it's a waste of clothing. But I do kind of like, every time there's like an earthquake or some weird, like, the few times we've gotten those weird like evacuation alerts or whatever. Thank you, LA. Yeah, the few times that has happened, I've been like, oh shoot, like I don't have any clothes on, So it's kind of like, it is like, something to consider. But I'm like, all the other days, I'm super comfortable. So, and there's like the risk of somebody like walking past my window. I tend to keep my windows open, but I do keep a close ear out for, if people are gonna be like around where my room is. They shouldn't be lurking around by my room. Um, but I don't know. Uh, yeah, that's usually my thing with the clothing. And so usually it's like my clothes, sometimes that those categories of clothes, I'll usually have about 3 or 4 types of clothes, sets of clothes that are kind of at the foot of my bed, or I'll put them on my desk chair. They may or may not be folded. It just kind of depends on the day. And then, so some reason I noticed it was taking almost like 20 minutes to like sift through all those clothes. Through those clothes in the morning to like either look in that drawer or see if they're like on the foot of my bed, or like if I had freshly done laundry. I keep my clean clothes in my brother's room because he's not here, and so I just keep my clothes in his room because it's just space. I've got a bad habit of just keeping them on his bed. In all honesty, sometimes I don't even like fold them. It's become a bad habit. I don't really fold them. Like there are certain chores that I'm kind of like less likely to engage in if I have to skip chores. I'm sharing a bathroom, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping it like comfortable for other people. So I'm cleaning the bathroom more than normal as far as the rugs and things. We have like a moisture issue in that bathroom, so and it has a mold history that's really bad. It seems so far like it's taken care of. It's been taken care of for years, but I try to keep it aired out and try to make sure the rugs and surfaces stay clean. They're not perfectly clean, but you know, once I start seeing, I try not to go 2 weeks without cleaning anything, or I'll at least give it like a wipe down once a week if I'm not really gonna thoroughly clean it. Like let's just take a disinfectant wipe and wipe off the surfaces, whatever it may be. Just wipe it down, at least if I'm not really gonna go in and like fully thoroughly clean it out. I will try to do that. I'm not saying I'm good at it or that I always do it, but I will try and do that. And so sometimes I do, put more priority on cleaning that, cleaning my room space. The car needs to be cleaned. The garage, pretty much, because I'm using it more regularly, it's got to be, you know, able for me to use. And so there's some chores that I'm just kind of like putting off, and one of them is folding my laundry. It's like if it's clean and it's not wrinkled, I don't really see a huge reason that I need to fold it. It's only for like appearances of others, and nobody else is using that room but me, so it's like whatever. I've kind of just gotten into a bad habit of keeping my clothes just on the bed, not really fully folded. Um, but I mean, they're clean, so I'm kind of like whatever. Um, but I still do count like the cleaning, the folding of clothes, like throwing stuff in the laundry, in the dryer, whatever. I do put a few minutes towards my exercise tally of minutes per week. I kind of consider it in the stretching category because I'm like, there's some movement there. Like I'm moving around and like, but I am realizing, I am not someone who needs a lot of stuff or a lot of space. Like it just takes so much to maintain things when you're busy or when you're trying to like focus on something else. I really don't see the point in having so much stuff. I don't even feel like I have a whole lot of stuff, but for me, it's definitely a lot to try to manage. Um, and the desire isn't always there to really fully try to manage a lot of stuff. But I know that, you know, I mean, I have enough. Like, I wouldn't say I have new, nice, pristine stuff, you know, like style wise or like whatever, but it's like, you know, I'm not like fully ashamed of the things I have, but I also know that I do tend to have a habit of keeping outdated stuff, and like I try not to really have too many things with like holes and stains and rips and stuff. It kind of just depends what it is. Like, but say for example, if I'm in the gym and I know I'm gonna be lifting, I try not to have like underarm holes or whatever. I will keep a couple shirts and stuff like that. I will keep them just because I'm like, if I'm lounging around the house or something, or working out in my bedroom, like, who cares if I have holes, you know, or whatever. But it's like, you know, I don't want to like fully throw some things out just because they're not perfect. But I also don't want to have stuff that's so messed up and like, you know, like there's no need for that. Um, you know, there's no need to, like, or fix it, you know. I'm big on like, let's try to fix something, you know. I noticed the bottom of my Uggs is kind of falling off. Um, the rubber sole, and I'm not sure if my leather glue will. I don't really know the bottom of the surface, but I want to check if my leather glue will be a good adhesive and try to like glue them back down. They're Airwalk brand from like Payless, like way back. Like I think I got them like they've got to be nearly like 20 years old. Like when the Uggs became like a fad, and then they were like an Australian, I guess an Australian brand, and then there were like all these offshoot brands, and then I think Airwalk used to be like a popular skate brand, and then it became, it kind of got onto Payless shoes, um, but yeah, they're Airwalk brand, but they're definitely used and worn. Ever since my house slippers kind of got messed up, I started just wearing Uggs around the house. Um, but they're kind of done in, but also because they're pretty much leather. I think other than the soles, even if the soles fall off, I think they'll still be fine. But stuff like that, I'm like, I don't really want to throw it away, especially because it's not like I'm like wearing them out in public. Like I'm wearing them around the house, so it's kind of like, you know, I really don't care that much. For them to be in perfect condition. Um, and yeah, I was considering, like, my friend told me about this program. It's called 75 Hard or something like that. I guess it's popular and other people know about it. I don't know anything. You guys know that I don't ever know what's going on. But he told me about it, and I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool. I was considering, you know, once October 15th hits, maybe looking into that or something like that. Because I'm like, well, if I started it on October 16th, I think I'd end somewhere near like December 30th, which is like right before New Year's Eve. Now, with my conditions that I've got going on, realistically, I don't think I could do the whole part where they say 75 days straight, no skipping days, or else you're gonna have to, if you skip days, you're gonna have to start over. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. So, because I do think I mentioned, you know, I get about, I don't know if it's even a 30-day period, but let's just estimate in a 30-day period, I'm probably going to have 2 days where I'm pretty much out of commission, if not 3 days. So I'd have to be realistic and say, you know, maybe outside of those 2 to 3 days, I'd need to hit the marks, and it could only be for those reasons. Like I wouldn't be able to skip days for those reasons. I think it would be interesting as like a discipline activity. I am kind of enjoying posting, like, and trying, like, I guess so far, since we're more than halfway through this Shotokan 30 days, that I'm kind of just making up off the top of my head. I don't even know why I chose 30 days, but I was like, whatever, 30 days. Like, it could have been 45 days, it could have been 10 days, but I like 30. I'm like, 30's, whatever. But I guess one thing that I like about it, well, a lot of the parts that I'm enjoying about it are that, it is kind of helping me learn a lot about my own mindset of things that I maybe wasn't paying attention to, that I was like, now I don't say I'm not saying I'm like fully healed or like fully perfect with it now, and like oh, now I figured it all out, and there's gonna be no mistakes on my part. Like, that's not really what I'm saying. But I have noticed. I'm making my bed. I have noticed that there are some parts where I'm like, I guess, like, there's some things that I'm realizing that I'm like, okay, these things are harder for me, or I'm just kind of like, with certain things I'm not getting full results, and I kind of know why. Like, even when I go back and I've looked at probably the times that I've maybe lost the most weight or seen the most progress with losing weight, I mean, the one thing that I could really say that I did, it wasn't even, I don't want to say this because it's going to sound crazy, it wasn't necessarily the dieting, because I think overall, as long as I'm like not heavy on the snacks, like overall, in our household, we kind of have a decent diet. It's not perfect, it's not like super healthy, but without the snacks, I'd say, even if we're just eating American food, like, I don't know, chicken dishes with rice or noodle dishes or whatever, like, there's always some veggies, there's always some carbs, there's usually some meat. There's not always meat, sometimes there's like veggie meat, but usually we have that kind of dish. And so, yeah, we're usually eating all right, good enough that's like, you know, as long as you're controlling the portions of it, it's not usually going to be like a major problem. Like, of course, it could be fine-tuned to be like maybe way healthier, way more veggies for the vitamins and stuff, maybe less processed stuff, so when it's like, noodles or breads and things like that, maybe paying more attention to like, that, or even like instant type of stuff. I'm not really a stovetop stuffing fan, but like instant stuff like stovetop or whatever it may be. So that's what I would say, is like, even when there is that kind of stuff going on, usually it's like, it's healthy enough. Like, no, it's not like great, it's not perfect, but it's like, it's healthy enough that you can eat it and not, it's not really gonna fully contribute to massive issues, especially if the salt stays low and the fat stays low, and it's not as processed of dishes. lately we've been trying to keep our meats organic. I've been really trying to stress that because I've noticed my stomach just can't handle some of this food. Like, I think some of the quality of the food, especially these cheaper brands like Select or First Street, like some of these Smart and Final brands, some of these like Vaughn's, Albertsons, Ralph's types of cheaper brands. I've noticed that my stomach cannot always handle that kind of meat. And then the enriched wheat type of stuff, and the more I kind of stay a little bit away from it, I start noticing whenever I go back to certain stuff, I definitely notice my stomach, my intestinal situation is definitely a struggle. So I'm aware of that, but I really do think that the game changer in my own personal results, as far as seeing like weight loss, fat loss kind of stuff, it's almost always been like a cardio thing. Because that's something that I do kind of avoid more, is like jogging, running. Now I have been, sometimes I do jog lines in the garage. I've talked about that, but it's still not. I'd say an elliptical or a treadmill is probably more effective, just because you're not slowing down every like few steps. And when I'm doing lines, I'm not like touching the ground because our garage floor is kind of dirty, and so I don't touch the floor in there. And it's dusty in there. It's probably not the best place to be working out. It's not like the cleanest of places. We've probably got some moldy stuff in there. I know at one point there was like a rat or something. I don't know if anybody ever thoroughly, fully cleaned that out. I don't think anybody did. So, yeah, but I guess this morning I need to start clearing out some space. I really don't want to do it, but I started, you know, with that guy from Oman, the Ali Al Raisa, his videos, the ones that I posted the link for the past couple days. After seeing kind of how much they do with the katas and everything, or even with their I don't know, with what they're training when they go forward and backward, I'm like, okay, I've got that space, but I'm like, I'm definitely gonna need that space to the side. I'm definitely gonna need to figure that out. So I've got to start working on that. Maybe today and tomorrow. I really don't want to do it, but I'm gonna have to figure out something, because I'm like, if I'm gonna get to the point where I can do the kata at the end, I want to be able to have the space to do it. I don't have the space to do it at all, enough to like do it right. And trying to do like very narrow, very just kind of like not full wide stances with things it's probably gonna screw me in the long run. I want to practice it right, so and yesterday I actually did some push-ups and sit-ups. I am very weak with those. With my back, with sit-ups, I really just don't know. And then I've got this weird shoulder thing. It's mostly because of laying down so much, because of my back. And so, I kind of favored one side and was like laying on one side of my body more. And I kind of messed up my shoulder doing that, which is pretty lame. But that's how it is. So, like, that's just how it is, But I guess, yeah, that's kind of what I'm gonna be working on a little bit today. I'll try and put in at least 10 minutes of cleaning. I kind of thought it through last night and I was like, we have this gigantic freezer that I know I can't move. So if I can just stack as much stuff on top of that stupid freezer as possible, that'll buy me some space. And then the rest of the stuff, just take a box cutter to some of those Amazon boxes and flatten them out. Even if I don't toss them or recycle them right away, just take a box cutter to a lot of it. Most of the stuff that's on top of things that I need to move is on top of that. Is just boxes. It's just empty boxes. And yes, we keep a few, but we do not need that many. We don't need that many boxes. We keep them because we reuse them for our own shipping. When we ship stuff to family or whatever, it's like, well, now you got a free box. But we don't need that many boxes. Like, we don't ship that much stuff. Like, we ship things, but we don't ship that much stuff to where we need, like, so many freaking boxes to a point where it's taking up so much space. And that's kind of become the dumping ground for them. And I'm the only one who ever cleans it out, so I'll just, take a box cutter to those boxes, flatten them out, put them up on top of the freezer, and then stack some stuff on top of that freezer. And then there's a couple things. I think there's like one of those a small workbench, a small, what do you call it? A small, what do you call that thing? Like a TV tray, like one of those trays that's like a foldable wooden tray that you take when you're eating in front of the TV or whatever, so that you can put your food on it, your plate on it and stuff. And then there's on top of that, I think near when I got injured, or sometime after, I don't remember, I was cleaning. I thought I was gonna sell a bunch of stuff, so I was cleaning out these dishes. I just kind of sprayed them off with a hose, soaked them in a tub of a container of I soaked them in a container of water and soap for a couple days, and then just kind of dried them off and stacked them. I don't think I really cleaned them, but I thought I was gonna have a yard sale. That I wasn't gonna do that, but I thought I was going to. But that I could give away or throw them out. I mean, we have a habit. We keep stuff a lot of times because we're like, we don't want to throw it away because it's good. Like, they're dishes that are in good working quality. Pans, dishes. If somebody wants them, they could clean them off and they'd have them. But we're never going to use them. Like, we're like, these have been in our dirty garage. We're not going to use these. They've been there for like years. We're not going to use them at all. Ever. Even the decorative stuff. Like, some of them are souvenirs, so maybe I'll keep those because they're not really, I don't think people will be fully happy if I throw those away. But we've got an old stove in there that we're not going to ever use. We've got an old printer we're never going to use. An old broken microwave that we're never going to fix or use. An old broken kind of huge TV monitor. Maybe two of those. Maybe like three old kind of big space, well, two old big space heaters and one tiny one. None of those three work at all. We're not gonna fix them. So we have stuff like that where I'm like, we need this stuff to just go. Like, it needs to just get out, we don't really need this stuff here. And part of me wants to take pictures and just be like, come take this stuff. Just come and freaking take it. So that we could just have the space in our garage. Just come and take it from us. Like, we don't need it. You can come and take it. Part of me just wants to put the pictures on Craigslist and be like, come and take our stuff. Because I don't want it. But somebody else might be able to use it. And I don't want to throw things out. So I might just do like a curb alert and just be like, we've got some free stuff. Like, come and get it, at a certain time of day. Come and get it. out of our garage. Bring your own truck. We're not going to help you load it. Bring your own dolly. And come and get the stuff. But, so I might just do something like that just to get some of the bigger appliances out of the way so that I don't have to go haul them somewhere else. Let me just let somebody else come haul them. They could probably take them for parts or scraps or whatever. Or people who know how to fix stuff, they could probably fix it even. And so that might be my plan with that. It might take me a couple days, but it could be possible to get rid of this stuff by Sunday. Possibly. Alright. We're at 7:23 a.m., about 35 minutes of stretching. Well, no, let me see. I actually have my clock on for the stretching. 25 minutes of stretching. So, okay, I think I'm pretty stretched out. Almost. Just gotta do a little bit more arms, but been stretching while I'm talking to you guys. But yeah. That might be my plan with it all. I just don't want to spend so much time on that and take away time from all the other stuff I'm doing, so I might end up spending a little more time on that and doing less working out. Focus on the Shotokan type of workouts, but less working out. As far as like the workouts, the other types of workouts and warm-ups and stuff that I do. So we're gonna say 26 minutes for the stretching. Then before I start for my morning, for the morning practicing here, I'm gonna look really quick over what I did write down last night. Now you'll notice for day 17 I didn't put the day 17 I didn't put what am I trying to say? I didn't put a lot for the podcast at all. I wrote most of it down, but basically, if you didn't read it, I looked at the Ali Alraisa video. I posted the link of the one I was looking at. I watched up to 12 minutes, 45 seconds. I kind of replayed a lot of that. I'm probably going to do that again this morning. I did the warm-ups that were in the video, which were basically the kicks, the forward punches, the reverse punch, then the combos in the video, going forward with the Gedan barai block and the zuki forward punches, the ageuke knife hand block, and the zuki punch going backward. And then there was I think it's called sanbon tsuki. I looked it up. It's like a triple punch. We didn't really learn it yet in the book, but I looked it up and it was kind of coming up. Triple punch forward, and then I guess with oizuki and gyakuzuki. Now, I'm not 100% sure if these are correct. I mentioned this in the description. The information that the sensei was giving when he was talking, his accent, and then kind of mumbling and talking super fast. I couldn't really hear exactly what he was saying, but he was kind of shouting out like the orders, like da 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 da, like do this and this and that. And then when I slowed it down to 25% on YouTube, I could kind of understand it a little bit better, but still not fully. So I'm kind of guessing with some of this, and just by the way it looked. But then I think backward, the part that was harder for me is where I kind of stopped and slowed down, and I'm gonna do this all over again today and maybe add a little bit more. But it was ageuke to going backward, it was ageuke, and then Gedan barai, but it looked like it was in like more of a narrow stance, and then they went into this geri kick, and then back to that kind of narrow stance, Gedan barai, and then they ended with zuki. And as far as like which feet to go back, that's the part that I need to figure out today, hopefully. But yeah, I kind of notice what people are learning at a very high level, and it's a lot. Like, it takes a lot to even get to the place of where he's teaching these classes. I think the lowest belt I've seen is a red belt, and the red belt is doing pretty good. But yeah, it's a lot. So I think I need to put in more time, but I also do need to like start cleaning the garage to prepare it. And I think I've got a pretty decent game plan. So if I can just get some of that stuff done while it's morning, and I've got the morning to myself, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to throw my lunch in the oven so that when I'm done working out, I'll just make a quick breakfast. I'll boil some eggs on the stove. I think we've got veggie nuggets and fries for lunch. I'll throw those in the oven, and then everything will be done. Then when I go leave the house for the afternoon, I'll just take my lunch with me. That'll cut down on all the having to cook with other people being in the house, bothering me. And then I'm looking for my box cutter. Alright, got my box cutter here. And so, alright, I'm gonna go get this rolling, and I'll report back once I'm kind of done for today. Once I do post, I'll put that information up. Alright, well, alright, so it took me a really long time this morning, kind of partly multitasking at the same time, to get in a lot of the cleaning in the garage. I did do the Shotokan kind of like reviewing of what I saw from the full live practice. I kind of went and reviewed it. So yeah. Yeah, I went and reviewed everything, and well, not everything, but still up to like 12 minutes 45 seconds or so, up until about that point. And then I went from there. So, and now, you know, one person that I live with, you know, they finally got out of the house today. I think in September they got out of the house once, according to them, to one of the local stores, and then today, and other than today and once last month, I do not remember any other time recently at all, even before like July, that they left the house. Maybe June, but I don't really remember. I feel like there was one time, maybe June or so, and then there might have been a time in like April. Like, I can count on one hand the amount of times they've left the house in this year of 2025. And so, I don't know. For me, I don't, it's hard for me to live with people who have issues going on. Don't go to the doctors, you know, whatever. But this isn't like the worst. Like, they're not, I guess, I don't know, because they've got doctor's appointments coming up that they're putting in some effort, some energy into fitness related things, health related choices. I've kind of noticed some of the food purchases have gotten a little bit better in the household. Like I was saying earlier, like, we tend to at least cook a lot of the time. Like, we do eat takeout a lot too, but we do tend to take it relatively easy on the takeout. Not, I mean, like, we probably, because there's a restaurant we eat at maybe once a week. We get Mexican food once a week. And there's, you know, so there's that spot that we eat once a week. And you can get a lot or a little, really. Like, it's like their burritos are huge, but their tacos are small, and like, you can kind of get a variety of stuff, size-wise, calorie-wise, vegetable-based. I'm not saying that it's like fully vegan or whatever. Like, they probably cook the veggies on the same grill as the meat. I mean, they don't say that they don't. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe they do, but maybe they separate it out fully. But I don't know. I don't know how convinced I am that not eating meat is like the healthiest thing for every single person. Because what I've noticed is, like, okay, if I do take out the meat, but then if I'm eating like vegetarian processed products, is that really healthier? Is that really going to be healthier in the long run? Like, is organic chicken less healthy than Morningstar vegan nuggets? What's less healthy? Like, is it the meat? Is it the vegan stuff? And some stuff that's, maybe it's vegan, maybe it's vegetarian or whatever, but it's not really, it's just not made out of meat, but it's still sometimes not made out of like vegetables fully. So it's kind of like, you really got to know what you're eating with some of this stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really fully buy it. I'm not like fully into the whole, like, I mean, I know it is healthier, but I'd say, like, if you're eating raw, I mean, I'm not really one to really give food advice, but I would say if you're eating raw, I can understand someone saying raw vegetables are probably better for you. But then you still really have to make sure you're getting all the nutritional servings, all the proper vitamins, iron, you know, all the everything that you need, you know. And it kind of just depends on the culture and the diets around you too. You can eat, I mean, like, I don't know, I don't want to say this to sound like a jerk, but, and it's maybe because I've known so many vegetarian people, but I've known vegetarian people who have had cancer at old or young ages. I knew two people, one of them's younger than me, one of them's a little older than me, and this was like way back when I was probably in my 20s or so. Both of these people were diagnosed with some kind of like a brain cancer of some kind. I think both of them had that issue. I don't know if it was the same. I don't know what it was, but some type of a brain cancer, unfortunately. And then they both got treated, and as far as I know, they got their health back. And I've known quite a few people that were vegetarian or vegan that were older and got cancer. And it's like, I feel for people. I'm like, you know, it's a pretty rough time, to have people, having issues and then trying to say, oh, you have to live the same lifestyle as them. I mean, one of the people I knew, the guy who was a little older than me that got cancer, I mean, he was vegan I think he was vegan, and he was like, not a professional runner, but he was a runner. Like, he would run, like, he was probably one of the first people I knew that did those, like, marathons and that Livestrong stuff, like, back when, like, Livestrong was, like, new. And, yeah, he was an athlete. The other one, the female, she wasn't an athlete, but, I mean, relatively speaking, her family was pretty healthy. She was more overweight. I don't know. Like, I just think she wasn't very active. Like, she was, like, we would have PE class together and stuff, and, like, she would be always, like, walking. She'd almost never run. Like, she'd almost always just, like, walk. Like, she wasn't very athletic, but it's like we all had the same PE class. We had to run a mile a day and all this kind of stuff. Do the mile test, the presidential test, fitness thing or whatever, and all this other kind of stuff. So, like, I grew up at the least doing PE every day, 4 days a week, playing sports in my free time, like with my brother and other friends, and then also just like I would play sports league on Sundays. I played up until my first year of grad school, pretty much almost every Sunday, other than like between sports. And so, I definitely grew up around people that were active and was active. And like I mentioned before, most of my problems that I started realizing, they started developing around high school. And the main thing I could identify at that time was that, I didn't have PE. And I think for part of my sophomore year, maybe I didn't have PE too, because we did work experience. But I was still active enough. Like, I still played sports a little bit on my free time. I'd walk around, take the bus around. I didn't have a car yet. We'd walk around the mall all the time. Like, it was pre, like, computers and smartphones, like, pre-YouTube, really. Like, we weren't really home on our computers, unless it was, like, after school or at night. Once you're kind of back home, it's like after dinner, maybe you're on your on the household family computer in the living room for a limited amount of time, and you'd have to share it with people. Or like back when we had dial-up, it was like, well, somebody needs the phone, you gotta like get off the computer, so we didn't have unlimited access to privacy on a computer all day every day to just do exactly what you want at any time at the tip of your fingers. Like, we had limitations. We definitely had limitations. And so that was like a different time period in life, and now that's not really how things go. Now it's like, there's definitely more issues with that, and years. But I would say in the past couple years, I've definitely, even though I don't have so much results to show for it as far as like being like in shape, like I don't look like totally in shape, like I am noticing, like especially like this last maybe week or so, not this specific week, but maybe if I look at the last 7 days, because it's Thursday right now, between last Thursday and today Thursday, I definitely notice, my flexibility is better, my pain levels are better, or I can get my flexibility better, faster, and like I mentioned before, I did see earlier this year around like March, I was able to confirm that my A1C levels were decent, and that my iron levels were nearly decent. So I'm happy with that. I'm like, that's progress, you know, but it's not perfect progress. Like the weight still is there. Um, I'm not fully maintaining the weight as much. Oh, I'm maintaining it, but it hasn't really gone down. And I think the main thing really is, you know, I need to be working out more and being more active. Because even though, and more explosive workouts, because even though I am putting in the work, in the past few years I've put in the work, I have to take a lot of days off. You know, I've got some pain that flares up on occasion. So in addition to the health issue, I've got a pain issue that is more random. But I just have to be careful. I can't just go full force, and I can't just not stretch before and after. I have to like pay attention to what I'm doing way more. Like today, okay, so I cleaned part of the garage. It took me maybe 30-ish minutes. Basically, like I said, I broke down a bunch of boxes, stored them kind of, you know, well, I put them in the recycle, put a bunch of the bags, because we order takeout groceries, Amazon fresh groceries and stuff. Put a lot of those extra like used bags, like a lot of them are stacked, at least they were all kind of like on top of stuff. And then I had two folding, freaking what do you call them, two folding trays, wooden folding trays, like cheap wood, like folding trays. They're in working order, so I folded those, put them in one spot. And there was another, it's like a drying rack for your clothes, where you like kind of hang your clothes. I took that and I kind of folded it up and kind of leaned them all kind of up against each other, so they're kind of all in one section. And then I took some other stuff, and yeah, so that's like the dryer stuff, well, I say dryer, I don't know why I said dryer, the stuff that's like on the, yeah, like basically a lot of the boxes. Now, I didn't want to fill up the whole trash can and recycle, because it's Thursday and our trash day is Wednesday, and so I have to do this in steps and stages. But I think, you know, I did take some pictures after I kind of cleared out a certain space and saw some lamps, like I said, there's lamps, there's space heaters, there's like a keyboard, there's an old monitor is broken. There's a bunch of little stuff that's broken that I'm like, I would like someone to come out and just haul it out and take it. There's some other stuff that works. Like it's working, it's in good working order. And then there's some other stuff that's just like doors that we're never gonna use. Like it's kind of like stuff that's like, I don't like trashing stuff that someone else could use, but also we're not putting it in a space where other people can use it. And it's not mine fully to like toss it out, but also I know like nobody else is gonna use it. Nobody else is gonna use an old mattress and box spring in the garage that's been there for at least 5 years, if not probably 10 years or more. I don't even know how long it's been in there, but it's dirty. Like we don't have like one of those garages where it's like, oh, you can like live in this garage and like, you know, it's carpeted and nice and beautiful. It's like, no, our garage has like trash and junk in it. There's a lot of stuff in there that's my dad's stuff. It's like radiation journals from like the 80s, stuff like that that's like nostalgic, but it's like, do you need these? Do you need like a whole two, like we have like old, you know, those old bookshelves from like companies, like offices, the ones that take like 3-4 people to move them, because it's not cheap wood, it's like heavy metal, you know, furniture that's good, you know, it's good quality, but it's just so thick and big and like bulky and heavy. I think I need to move the car a little bit more. I think I'm kind of sticking out too much. What do I say? I just wanted to be in the shade, that's all. Ooh, our brakes are on. Alright, let me kind of back this in a little bit better so that I'm at least kind of like straighten out. Alright. Because I see people kind of driving, they look like they're swinging a little bit wide. I might be a little bit in the way. But yeah, I'm posted up here. I like to kind of sit here. I'm doing my recording and stuff. Then I'm gonna have lunch. But yeah, I think, you know, once I clean out, I'm not really fully cleaning out things, but it's like if I could get it to a place that, you know, some of these big things that are just, we are never gonna put some of this stuff back in the house. I gotta be real about it. I'm like, some of this stuff is not gonna get back into the house. We're not gonna put it in the house. Nobody's gonna fix it ever. In our house, nobody's ever gonna fix it or try to use it. And so, yeah, I basically just know what I'm gonna do. I mean, I like the amount that I've cleaned out. I don't want to put up way too much effort. It takes time out of my schedule, but it's like, yeah, I already took more than 30 minutes doing this because I had to shower after, and then like I could have showered tonight, but I'm like, well, if I'm gonna be out in the town, you know, in the neighborhood, I don't want to be all like sweaty. And so I showered, took that extra time, and then packed my stuff to be in the car, and then probably gonna go to the library or something. But yeah, you know, it's you know, it's just it's a challenge. Like, I've got challenges in my life that I'm kind of like slowly chipping away at, you know. Just kind of trying not to let just trying to be open-minded, but let my energy help me realize where I am with things and not be too like avoiding of stuff, or too I don't know. I just don't want to have issues with a lot of stuff. But yeah, I'm having a good enough experience. And yeah, while I was practicing some of the Shotokan today, so basically what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna label. I wrote it in my book, in my little diary book here, the practice book. I think I was saying his name wrong. It's Ali Al-Raisi, not Ali Al-Raisa, but Ali Al-Raisi. I labeled the combos that I talked about yesterday, 1A, 2A, and then 1B, 2B. So I think 2B is the one that I'm having issues with still, but I'm still going to keep chipping away at it. I'd say altogether today I got like 90 minutes worth of exercising and cleaning in, including the 20-something minute stretching when I was recording earlier this morning at like 6:40 something, 6:50 something in the morning when I was recording. And then yeah, I ended up having to come and, you know, do some other stuff. I guess but I don't know. I don't know what other people plan to do in the house. Like, I feel like I definitely notice in the mornings I don't want anybody talking to me. Like, I made these vegan or vegetarian, like Morningstar chicken nuggets and fries while I was exercising. So, and boiled some eggs, and so I had like 12 minutes, you know, or 15 minutes or so, 12 minutes, I guess, that I calculated with the egg boiling, and then I had to come back and, like, while I had the fries in, then I had to come and put in the um the chicken nuggets. This was in the middle of Shotokan practicing, and then, I had to come back and turn the oven completely off. And because we've been getting ants on our stove, I don't think I've seen them anywhere else, but randomly we've been getting them on our stove. Not like in, but they're like on the stove. If you leave stuff on the stove, the ants start swarming. It started with the honey, and then somebody cleaned off the honey bottle, and now it's like, just if you put something on there, they're gonna attack it. And so, I was like, usually what I would do is just wrap stuff in foil, because I just cooked it all at once for both me and other family. And so I was like, because in the morning I'm trying to get all this stuff done while I've got time to myself before anybody comes and starts trying to interrupt me or talk to me or get my attention or interact. Like, I've got to get my stuff done first. I'm really prioritizing my own things. And so it does definitely put a bit of a damper on my morning when I can't just, like, fully I don't know. It kind of puts a damper on my morning when I can't just, like, fully get all my stuff done. But yeah, it puts a little damper on my morning. And so I don't really like to kind of have a messed up morning with other people kind of trying to interact. Because like I mentioned, I'm realizing when I do this start and stop time with these workouts and stuff, what I think is like 2 minutes, or what I think is like 30 seconds, is like 5 minutes, is like 20 minutes, is like the other day, 30-40 minutes, where I'm like in the kitchen doing something, and then I'm like, oh, let me organize this, or let me, like, work on this other thing. And I get so distracted doing other things that it's like, okay, those hours from like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., when I know I'm going to be bothered around 8:30 a.m., but 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., those hours are pretty much golden hours for me. And if I start spending too much time cooking, or too much time eating, or too much time organizing other stuff when I'm supposed to be working out or doing something that contributes toward working out, or even just like a little bit, like, I don't really always meal prep too far in advance, but sometimes I do. But it backfires, because then I don't eat at all, and then it doesn't really work out for me all the time. But I like to do kind of like I did this morning, like meal prep breakfast and lunch. So I did do that. I meal prepped breakfast and lunch, and then that was just fine. I got the meal prep for breakfast and lunch. I got my food prepared, and I did it early enough that nobody's bothering me while I'm in the kitchen. So I meal prepped breakfast and lunch enough to my own comfort levels, just to be able to get out of the way of other people disrupting me when I go into the next phase of my day, when I'm actually getting work done. And then, I also don't like people bothering me while I'm getting work done. And then if I'm getting work done until maybe noon, usually just like maybe 9 to noon or so, give or take. And then I'll have lunch, or start cooking lunch around 12:30 if I'm on time, and then start eating. And sometimes I take longer lunches, so my lunch can end anywhere from like 1 to maybe like 2. I don't know, it just kind of depends. And then I'll sometimes just take a big break in the middle of the day, and then get back into things late at night, like later, like after 4, after 5, after 6. or, well, probably not after 6, but after 4 or 5, or I'll just, if I'm able to start early, then I'll power through, and end. And so, yeah, I kind of have been doing that, and then, yeah, it's kind of sort of working out for me somewhat. But yeah, I do kind of realize, it's like every day where I'm like, I'm going to practice some of this. I'm really not putting in so much time. I'm putting in some time, but not so much time. But a lot of the time, there's other stuff going on. I've got other stuff that I'm doing a lot of the time. So today, I would say, I'd say there was maybe like another 12 minutes on top of the 28 minutes of cleaning. As far as the Shotokan, there's only really 21 minutes that I actually practiced Shotokan. Now, see, if I wouldn't have had my timer on, I would have been like, wow, I did like 90 minutes of Shotokan practice today. It's like, no, I didn't do 90 minutes. I did 90 minutes total of the stuff that I count towards exercise, but only 21 minutes of it was Shotokan so far today. I don't know if I'll get back to it later, but for now, we're calling it 21 minutes. And then let me kind of enter that into my phone. So I'm gonna have the cleaning was like 12 minutes of kind of like taking footage, and then to try to plan and decide what to do, and then like 28 minutes of actually cleaning. And then what other numbers do I have on here? Yeah, the 26 minutes of stretching that was earlier when I was talking to you guys. So that altogether adds up to about, it's almost 90 minutes. It's actually 89 minutes. If I look at yesterday, Wednesday, the Shotokan practice was 31 minutes total. I did actually last night, though, go back through things for maybe like an hour. I didn't like physically do it. I was just looking slowly at the movements, which, that kind of cut into podcasting time. And like I mentioned in yesterday's description notes, I really didn't feel comfortable recording. I wasn't comfortable recording yesterday. Just it's the same situation all the freaking time. It's like I live with people who pretty much never leave the house, and they were just kind of posted up where they were posting up all night, and even by like 9 p.m. at night, they were still sitting over at the table silently, working on puzzles or whatever. And it's like, I don't really have enough space to really always record. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't like people up in my business about everything. If I want to tell somebody something, I'll tell them. But I'm really like, for me, I'm kind of like, sometimes I'm like, the more I see the same person, I don't want them as involved in every step of my day, because I'm like, you're already too involved. Like, some people, I don't want them that involved in my day-to-day. I don't want them involved that much. I don't need them involved that much. I have like no desire for it. Other people, I kind of don't mind giving them like the play-by-play. But when it's like too much, like someone who already needs like too much of my energy, too much of trying to get my attention, and they're just like already around too much, and I feel like overwhelmed by their presence, I really don't try to include them in things. I actually try to like shut them out more, because I'm just like, you're too much. Like, you know, like every time I see you in passing, you try to start a conversation. Like every time when it's something like that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like leave me alone. Like it's too much. Like I am perfectly fine going like probably 2 to 3 days without really talking to anybody. That's probably my preference, really, is probably like 2 days to myself. Like, especially if I'm like living alone, I'm not like, I need to make an effort to talk to this person every single day and at least say hi or at least start a conversation or at least say something to them. I'm not that way. Like, usually I'm like, I mean, it's like not even people I'm dating. It's like if it's older family members or roommates, housemates, that kind of thing. You know, I don't need that, you know? Like, I don't want that. That's not something I desire or value. Is like constant interaction. And especially because, like, my energy is already so hard to come by. My focus is already so hard to stick to that the last thing I need is somebody else telling me about their errands or chores or other random stuff that I don't really need to know and like talking my ear off about it for like 30 minutes. And that could have been 30 minutes that I would have been doing some other thing that I may or may not ever even get to because I let someone else take that time from me. And then I'll either lose the motivation or lose the focus or just be like, well, that time has come and gone. And now I actually need to like move on to the next thing in my day because I'm not very good at like judging the time. Like I'm noticing that, like, you know, so that does kind of count towards my lack of desire to really interact with people in the house because I'm like, you know, you're gonna take energy away and focus away from what I need to do, and I already do that on my own. Like I'm already like stop watching what I'm doing, and let me see, what time did I get out of the house today? 10:52 a.m. I woke up at 5:30 this morning or so. I didn't want to get up that early, so I laid in to like 6:45 or so. Started podcasting at 6:47 a.m. While I was stretching. I did that simultaneously this time. While I was stretching, got up after the stretching and getting dressed and talking to you guys about what I was gonna do. That was 26 minutes of stretching, but probably like 40 something minutes of recording. Just under 50 minutes, probably 45 minutes of recording. And then by that time, I started cooking the food and everything. I knew it was gonna be cooked by like 8:20 or so. So that time between like, let's see, according to what I wrote in my planner, approximately, so from about 7:30 a.m. till about 8:20 a.m. I was kind of doing a combination of Shotokan and going to the bathroom and cooking. And I started eating just before 9, and then I went back to the garage and worked on stuff. So from 9:42 a.m. I started working on the garage, and I didn't really leave the house until about 10:52 a.m. So that just shows, you know, and that was me not really wasting a whole lot of time. Like I wasn't moving like super swiftly or anything, but I wasn't really wasting time. I wasn't like wasting time. I was making sure I had everything. There was maybe 10 minutes I wasted because the person who was leaving the house, I kind of gave them a few minutes because I kind of noticed they were lurking, and they kind of do that. I kind of realized, you know, when I was getting out of the shower and stuff, They were kind of going into the other bathroom, and I kind of realized they were lurking a little bit um, in the kitchen or whatever, dining area. They were kind of lurking, and so I went to like get more toilet paper, and then they kind of tried to catch my attention to say they're gonna go take a walk. So I was literally almost on my way out the door then, but I was like, well, I don't want to like interact with them while they're not quite out the door, and I don't want to really drive past them, so let me give them a few minutes to like see if they even left. And then I kind of got my stuff together because I had already packed my lunch, like the bag, everything was already sitting there ready to go in a space where the ants couldn't get it. And then the my yeah, in a space where it was ready to go. And then my and then my yeah, I had everything packed pretty much and ready to go. So I did waste almost 10 minutes extra trying to get out of the house. I probably could have gotten out of the house around like 10:45 a.m., but it took me till like 10:52 a.m. or so, just to give a little more space, because I was like, I really just don't feel like interacting right now. And then dang, this sucks. I'm kind of realizing I'm having like a slight amount of back pain right now. It might be from the car seat that I'm in, but I had plans to kind of go. I actually might just go to the bookstore a little bit, but my back is killing me, so I don't know. I didn't clean that much of the garage today, but it's like that might contribute. But it's the other side. It's not the main side that's injured. I might go home and like stretch ice. But I didn't notice it till I started sitting in this chair in the car. A little after I parked, I started noticing like, ooh, my back does not feel like great right now. After I was literally saying that I haven't had a lot of pain in a while. And but yeah, I wasn't lifting today too much. I think there were, I lifted maybe a couple things. A box of maybe like some light boxes, and one of some maybe like 4 or 5 jars. Like I didn't really lift a lot of heavy stuff. And again, it was only like 30 minutes, 29 minutes. Mostly I was just chopping up boxes and flattening out some of the bags, and then kind of putting stuff where it needs to go. I didn't really even like move any of the bigger appliances. I moved like one really small space heater on top of another big bulky square space heater so I could take a picture of it, but other than that I didn't really do all that much. But yeah, I just did a little bit, and so yeah, I'm hoping I can get the rest of the things done. But you can see how my mornings go. It's like between the exercising, stretching, and cleaning, really I only did about 90 minutes, just short of 90 minutes. But I've been up for like multiple hours. But yeah, I don't count the stuff like the cleaning, the shower, I don't count the cooking, the packing up my food, the packing up my bag that's got my laptop and books and stuff in it, notebooks and things. You know how it is nowadays. You got to bring your chargers and your hotspot and your headphones and like all that kind of stuff. And I had to bring my lunch, everything, pack my lunch up and everything. That takes extra time. So even just leaving the house and like cleaning up, washing up to like leave and all that kind of stuff, and like, you know, I have to be like somewhat groomed. Like I'm kind of like, I'm not a complete slob. I'm not completely disheveled, but I'm really not like super cleaned up as far as like the way I look. I am quite casual with my attire and my appearance. I try to keep it a little on the casual end, but yeah, even though I keep it on the casual end, I I still sometimes have a little bit of an issue. Uh, you know, like it takes me a while to even get to my casual look. Like it takes me a little bit. I really don't take that long to get ready. If I really wanted to look way better, I'd probably have to take another like 30 minutes, but I'd probably take about 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes. 40's pushing it if I'm moving really slow, but it's like, because sometimes I'm multitasking and I'm like getting some of my other stuff that I want. Um, but yeah, I might go out in a little bit for just like a few minutes after I post some of this stuff online, then have some lunch, and then I'll kind of see where I land. But yeah, like a lot, like the amount of time it takes me to do stuff is really, you know, it's pretty crazy. Like it's a really long time. Like to get all this amount of stuff done, it takes me a really long time. To do all these things. But mostly also it's because I'm doing it early. There's stuff I'm doing early in the morning when I'm just mentally not even in the headspace to really try to deal with too much. But you know, I'm slow, I'm groggy, as we can all tell. When I start talking, you can tell I'm not like super sharp some days. Today's one of those days. I am not having a sharp day. I'm not feeling very sharp. But I've got like physical energy. And last night I kind of felt that too. I was like, I kind of have this like physical energy, like this energy where it's like I don't feel physically fatigued. So I kind of was like leaning into it a little bit more. But again, you know, it's hard to work out at home. Like I'm really not the kind of person who likes to be like overheard or like noticed or have people. I don't want to take it as far as to be like, oh, people are spying on me, but I just don't like people that involved, even to the fact where they can like hear what I'm doing if I'm working out, or like look in the garage and like peek in and see what I'm up to in there if I'm like practicing or cleaning or whatever, or like if I'm even cleaning or cooking. Some things I just really like to do by myself, and it's really hard living with people trying to do the cooking, the cleaning, the exercising. Those are probably three things that I just don't like other people being around for. I don't like sharing that space and time with people a lot of the time. And then I end up sometimes, you know, doing less of it because of the discomfort. So it's like I'll spend more money on takeout because I don't want to cook in the kitchen where somebody's going to bother me. You know, I'll work out less, or maybe not get as explosive of a workout in because it's like somebody's literally sitting feet away from my door. You know, you know, that, mostly that. And then like the cleaning too, it's like I might avoid cleaning because it's like I just want to focus on the cleaning and not really talk to people while I'm doing it. But I feel like it's not all the crazy in my brain. It's like, you know, I live with people I'm almost always living with people that have issues where they just need more attention than the energy that I'm wanting to give them or willing to give them. It's not that I am not ever wanting to hang out, but it's just like, you know, some of these people, it's like you gotta get your own life. You know, you gotta get out and like get your own life and get your own social circles and mingle and interact with people your own age and go do that. Don't depend on me for that, you know, all the time. Like when somebody's depending on me for that all the time, it's just a complete drain. And But also, yeah, I mean, I attract that quality of person, like, and I tend to gravitate towards being around them, even though I don't think that's how it's gonna be. That's how it ends up being. Um, and it's just nicer to have more time away, more separated time. I don't know. There are some people that say they like they have like a spouse or something, and they work together, and they have a home office where they work in the same home office, and then they spend every day together, and they have the same friends, and they have lunch and dinner and breakfast together. It's like, I am not that person. Like, I need, if I'm living with anybody, I need them to really have their own life. But I don't need to like completely be like fully ignored. Like, I don't want to be like ignored, like you don't want to hang out at all, but I don't want to be overly overwhelmed by somebody on the needy end. It's not even like I like hanging out with people and doing stuff, but when it becomes like a neediness thing, I really don't want to talk to somebody a lot. When I get that sense that like I'm the person they're waiting for to interact with all the time, I'm like, oh, get away from me. Like, you know, because usually I'm pretty good at faking, enjoying being around people. Um, Usually it's like, I have like an ability to show that I'm very interested when I'm not interested at all. Um, but I've been getting a lot more like, okay, I'm not gonna even act like I'm interested so that you can get the hint that I just don't want to talk. And I even say out loud, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to talk. And the person will still be talking in the background. It's like they're not even talking to me, but they're still like I still hear them talking. It's like, well, now you're talking to yourself and you're just like talking. It's like that kind of thing. So I'm just like, dude, like go do something else. Like go somewhere and go do something else. Like I'm sorry to say, it's like I can't be there for people like that all the time. I'd love to be. I have been in the past. I'm not doing it anymore. I don't have the capacity to deal with it. And I know I sound like a jerk, but that's just how it is. And I'm realizing that for myself because I'm having so much trouble with my own things. It's like I've got physical injury issue. I've got other health issues. I've got just mentally, I get this brain fog, and I get overwhelmed easily, and I need to take longer breaks, and then I have trouble focusing, once I get distracted, and then whatever I was gonna do, it's like that energy, if it gets put even 30 minutes into some other thing, I might not end up doing that other thing, and it might take me a few more days to circle back to get to that part of the plan. It's like, I don't have the capacity to be like getting interrupted by somebody else all the time at their convenience for their needs to get met by me. Like, that's not what's going on with me right now. Like, I've got enough problems as it is. Like, to add other people's problems on top of mine is just too much. And it's like, I'm not even saying that I don't want to interact or I don't want to hang out. Like, I make an effort. At least once a week we do something. And that's more than I'm doing with anybody else in my life right now. And at least once a week we do something, whether I want to or not. Birthdays, holidays, we do something, you know. And I'm not saying that I don't enjoy it, I do, but, and then I try to have some other interaction, at least one other time or so, maybe two other times during the week. And that's to my own, based on my own preferences. But, but yeah, that's based on my own, kind of what I like on my own, what I want or like on my very own. But, yeah, like, if it's one I like or want, if it's something that I want on my own, it's like I said, I probably don't need to interact that much with other people. Like, I'm okay taking like 4 or 5 days you know, to kind of like maybe not be so interactive, or maybe 4 days, you know, I would like to have maybe 2 whole days completely to myself without having to feel obligated. But then it's like, I also don't want to hurt people's feelings and just be like, well, I'm actively ignoring you, because I am. A lot of times I'm like, I have to ignore you because you're getting in my way. Like, whatever you're starting this conversation is like, okay, I was literally like banging out some work on my computer in my room. I come out of my room and somebody's there that's been sitting in a room by themselves for like 2-3 hours, and then they want to tell me what they've been doing, and it's like, I literally came out here to get a bottle of water and go right back to working on what I was doing. Like, I was not trying to see what you're doing or interact or anything. And that's just one example. It's like, that's just one example. So, like, first, I initially thought, I was like, this is totally just my own problem and my own issue. But the more that I've been tracking the time stamps of things that I do and actually paying attention to it, I'm like, today I didn't really get interrupted by anybody, but I can imagine how much extra time it would have taken if I was interrupted by somebody, you know. So I'd say maybe 20 minutes or so of this podcasting earlier this morning, about 20 minutes of it was not necessarily maybe like needed. We didn't need the 20 minutes extra that I talked, and then probably this extra 50 minutes or so while I'm recording in the car before I start lunch is not needed either. But I do like to try to explain kind of like the insights I'm gaining into things and the awareness, because it's like, you know, there are more things going on. It's not just like, oh, it's hard to work out, or oh, it's, you know, like there's other underlying stuff that I'm like, well, I gotta like figure all that out too, and then work on it and find a method that works for me. I feel like I am making a collaborative effort with the people I live with to be civil and to be, you know, helpful, you know, where I can be. But it's like, I'm also getting very annoyed, and I've got to pay attention to how much my energy gets rocked by other people. And, you know, if I've got to do the solo thing, or just kind of isolate more just to get my own stuff done, or walk around with headphones in so that if people are talking to me, I'm just like, I'm not even responding because I'm literally in the middle of something else. Like, I mean, I almost feel like we should make a rule in the house that we don't have to talk to each other, unless it's like maybe noon or 4 or 5 p.m. It's like, we shouldn't need to be talking to each other for multiple lengthy breaks in the middle of the day. It's like, I don't need to be taking multiple lengthy breaks in the middle of the day. But I don't know. I just, I'm not really into it. And then the stuff that also is like the style of communication, I'm more of like, if we're gonna talk about something, let's actually talk about something that's got like some depth to it. Like, it doesn't always need to be some like deep thing about how come everybody's depressed or like whatever, but it's like, I'm not very good with small talk. And when people just only want to have small talk, I'm really not interested when it's 100% of the time small talk. You know, I like real conversations. I don't really like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I gotta run this errand. I gotta go do this. I gotta do this chore. Oh, I need to like, you just kind of like a running to-do list. I don't really have that much desire to kind of like entertain that information in my mind, or all that energy it takes. I really just don't have a lot of energy to kind of entertain all that. And then or politics. It's like, a lot of times people think they're talking about like deep things, and they're just venting about their frustrations with politics. And it's like, that's another thing that I'm realizing. It's like I can't get caught up in those conversations. It's too energy draining. It's too pointless. You know, like somebody today sent me something. I don't know. They like to argue politics on the internet, and they sent me something, and I just saw what it was. And once I realized what it was, I was like, I'm not even gonna read it. Like I don't even care. Um, like I'm not responding. You know, I'm not gonna respond. I had some people last night, some friends texting me last night, where they were like, one of my military friends saying they're not getting paid, and that does suck. But I was like, I didn't respond at first because it's a group text, and I was like, I'll wait for the other person to respond first because I'm always the one who's responding. But we kind of respond to each other's situations and check in and update and stuff. So I wasn't trying to be like, this sucks, but it was kind of like they sent like a political cartoon about it first, I guess. That was what I was kind of like. After I've kind of mentioned maybe like multiple times, I think, I don't know, we had like a whole like 2 or 3 day weekend long conversation about all the stuff that I was kind of saying, like, I don't pay attention to all this stuff. When people want to talk politics, I don't do it. I was kind of just explaining my own method. Because now a lot of people are coming to me saying, I'm stressed about the politics, and all the news and all this stuff. And I've been already on that stress level since January. Since the fires in January. Probably even since November. I kind of checked out already. But since January for sure. Once I got off Instagram, I was like, I'm done with this. Once I got off my personal Instagram, I was already over it in January. And it's taken almost like 9 months or so for other people. In September, I heard a bunch of people. That's when a bunch of people started telling me how stressed out they are. But I was like, well, this is my method. I just don't talk about it with anybody. And if anybody wants to talk about it, I only say, okay, what's the solution? If there's a way that I can contribute or a way that I can help, or if there's some kind of action that you're taking that you want me to be involved with, I'll talk about that. And outside of detailed planning about actually being active politically, I don't want to talk about it. Like, that's pretty much my stance. Is like, if we're not talking action, I don't want to talk about it at all. Like, I'll empathize with my friends, and that does suck, and I was like, this is wrong that they do that, because it's like, it's not like other jobs where, like, if your boss isn't paying you, you can just quit and leave. Like, if you're in the military, you're under a contract, you're stuck there, you gotta still work. And this isn't the first time this has happened to this friend of mine, and it's not any fault of theirs. They're a very good, hard worker. I'm rooting for them. I always hope that they do well. I'm really proud that they're doing everything that they're doing. Like, they're very successful. They've really come a long way, and I'm impressed. I really am. They do other athletic stuff. They're really kind of like super skilled at a lot of things, and I really admire that. I really do. I'm glad to have friends that are like that, and I get motivation from that. But also, I don't want to dwell on, venting about the government, because I can't do it. Like, venting is, to me, it's wasted energy to dwell and vent on it. It's like, okay, if we're not trying to find like some kind of like solution, like actively talking about a solution, I don't really want to talk about it anymore, because I feel like everything at this point, there's no new information. It's all the same thing circulated in a different way. It's just against my own values. Like, I just don't value, spending my energy on that kind of stuff. I'm really trying to be very intentional about where my energy goes, and kind of tracking it and making sure that it's evening out the way I want it to, and seeing which places my energy is being put that's not helping me towards certain goals. And I am realizing it very much. There are definitely things in the house that are making it so it's harder for me, that I have to work around. There are definitely things, a little bit of things socially, but not really. Like, I don't feel like outside of the house You know, there's a lot of like social related things that come up that I'm like, I need to address this, you know. Other than the talking politics, that's kind of the only thing that I've noticed that's becoming a societal norm that I just don't vibe with. Um, but otherwise, yeah, uh, it's been like, you know, today has been a pretty eye-opening day, but it just hasn't been a fast-paced day. I did kind of slow it down, even though that wasn't my intention, but the energy's there. The brain fog is also there, but the energy is kind of there. And so I'm gonna get on with my lunch and posting and doing the things I need to do online, and then I'm probably gonna maybe hit up one of my friends and see if I'm gonna go do something else for a minute. And yeah, so it's gonna take me a bit, but I'm happy with this so far.